Barrel rolls is the reporter thrown into the secretive world of the Forex Super Model, where nothing is as it seems. Beware the techno-monk, and steer clear of Professor Code and his two assistants. Give the senior trader a wide berth, and don't expect any sense from the risk manager.
Good morning, I'm Professor Code and this is the Forex Super Model daily briefing for Monday the 30th of November 2020. The time is 5:10 London UK time, Asian session coming to a close, European session kicking off, and the US North American session are lunchtime. Right, being it the 30th, we're getting near the month end, so we thought we'd look at the month flows for November, and here they are. So they're not quite finished, but close enough. So what have we got? We've got yen, dollar on the negative, and we've got pound, euro on the positive, plus 281 for the euro, plus 52 for the pound, minus 144 for the dollar, and minus 189 for the yen. So this is November monthly flows. So pretty much nearly finished after today's trading. Monthly flows then, so we've got the opposed positive driver in the euro. We've got the positive rock in the pound, negative mover in the dollar, and the negative secondary driver in the yen. Right, so that's what's happened throughout November, the month that's nearly finished. So we basically had opposed euro strength with the opposing negative flows going fairly evenly, but predominantly out of the yen and the dollar. And we've had secondary flows sort of going with the pound as the rock. So the pound's sort of been basically going nowhere all month. The euro's been strengthening, and the yen and the dollar have been weakening. Now, if you remember my dodgy graphic, which I can bring in here again, I know it's difficult to see, but I'll point it out. Now, the blue line, which is the dollar, these are the months. So this was July, August, September, October, and now pretty much November, which we've done. So minus a few hours, that's correct. So the blue line, which is I'm tracing out here, is the dollar. Now remember, you can't read this straight in terms of like a normal chart. You can't just say, oh, it's high here, therefore the currency's high. This may be the case, but it may not be the case, because these are complex monthly flows, and therefore we're talking about Forex gears here. So if you look at the gearbox in terms of, so we've got a positive gearbox up here and a negative gearbox down here. Now, so the blue line, which is the dollar has moved from the positive rock in October down to the negative mover in the month that we're just finishing. So the dollar's going into the negative gearbox now. We're going into reverse on the dollar. The euro, which is the red line, You can see it's V-shaped here. It's the red line. It's now up to the opposed driver, which is here. So the euro is into the positive gearbox and driving over the month. The yen, which is the green line, which is here. Remember I said that the yen was actually high in terms of up until this month, and we've had this fall in the yen, and the yen is the negative secondary driver. So that's the yen, and finally the pound, which is the orange line, which is here. And the pound was in the doldrums here in September, and it's clawing its way up the negative gears, and it's finally gone into the positive gearbox here. So we're at positive rock now. So we're finally in the pound moving into the positive gearbox. So we'll talk a bit more about that in a minute. So that was the monthly flows. Let's have a look. If I can find the right sheet. Here we are. Now the weekly flows for the week that we've just had then are as follows. The yen was on the negative. The dollar was the neutral rock. The pound and the euro were on the positive side. So plus 300, plus 22, 0 for the dollar, and minus 322 for the yen. So that was Monday the 23rd of the 11th to Friday the 27th. So that's the week we've just had. So we've got a negative driver in the yen, which is unopposed. We've got a neutral rock in the dollar, and we've got a positive rock in the pound and a positive secondary driver in the euro. Now if you looked at the weekly briefing, the review that I put out yesterday, we were talking a bit about this, but basically we've got the dollar in a state of dynamic static equilibrium. The dollar is in neutral. Last week basically it was all about yen weakness, with flows, opposing flows going into the euro predominantly, and the pound and the dollar relatively static in dynamic terms. So if you equate that with the monthly, you can see basically that the batting order is the same, and there are implications for that. So that was last week, and so far today, let's find today. So that, where are we? It's Friday. Right, here we are. So this is today. So what have we got? We've got dollar, pound, euro on the negative, and we've got yen on its own on the positive, plus 60 for the yen, minus 9 for the euro, minus 21 for the pound, and minus 30 for the dollar. So this is Monday the 30th of the 11th, which is today, from about half an hour ago. So they're the most up-to-date flows. We've got the positive driver in the yen, and it's unopposed. got a negative rock in the euro, negative mover in the pound, and a negative secondary driver in the dollar. Right, so let's make some sense of what's going on, or try to make some sense. So remember that when you get an unopposed driver, in this case it's a positive driver, it's either a top, as it's a positive one, or the start of a ramp up in that particular complex. So that's something to bear in mind. So this morning or overnight we've had flows going into the yen and then almost to the detriment, well, to the detriment of every other complex, and they're going predominantly into the out of the dollar and the pound, and to a lesser extent the euro. So let's try and put that into overall context then. Our positions on the pound are medium positions, short and long. They've improved significantly overnight. We're now at about 1820 points up, having been a fair bit lower than that, and our peak was over 2000. So we're getting up there again. As expected, it was low liquidity over the Thanksgiving and a bit of negative Brexit noise and all the usual excuses. But we just basically stayed in the dustbin and rattled around for a while, and now we're back up. So, and also the euro yen hedge trade, that's about 20 points to the good as well. So let's try and put this into context. What's going to happen today? What we think is going to happen today. So bearing in mind the monthly scenario, and it's worth just having a look at this in the context of what we're talking about. Now the monthly scenario, remember that the orange line is the pound. Now the pound, as I said, it's now managed to get out of the reverse gearboxes, and we're now into the positive rock. Now the pound, as you know, as a complex, has been beaten down severely, and don't even talk to me about the pound New Zealand, because that's although that's improving this morning as well. So basically what we're looking at then, we believe, is that, notice that the dollar last week was planted firmly as the neutral rock. So what do we believe in flows? Well, let's just get some elbow room on here and then we'll polish it off. So right, so on balance we believe, given the scenario, and of course I haven't mentioned this, but looking at the data prints, basically there's no point even mentioning data prints this week or early into next week, because they're just full on. All right, so just assume that the market is full on data. You've got like a skip full of data coming down the tube. The market's going to be all over the place for short-term traders. They're going to be getting knocked about all over the place. It's going to be like bumper cars. The stops are going to be flying. But we're in the fortunate position that we're trading the Forex Super Model, and we're just going to drive our dustbin or skip straight through the plough field now at the other side, because that's how we've designed it. So, right, looking at the situation then, so you've got the dollar, which last week was parked in a very neutral position, and the dollar, which is the blue line on the chart, is the negative mover. Now that's third gear in car driving terms, so we're just starting to get going. I would suggest, or we would suggest, that the dollar is heading down. So the dollar is likely to get softer this week. The pound, as you know, we're long on the pound 20%, but we also noticed that on a monthly flow basis the pound is now into the positive gearbox. It's the positive rock, so we think the pound complex is going to get a nice boost. That leaves the euro and the yen. Right, now the yen is often held hostage to the equity market transmission, and equities have been pretty ramped last week, but they're giving us the impression that they're going to carry on ramping. Obviously, if that changes, it will change the whole flow scenario. But we believe that equities are in the sort of the up phase, so we're going to be looking at a negative equity transmission. So we're going to be looking at a weaker yen. So you've got flows out of the dollar into the pound, out of the yen, and then the euro is likely to get some backdoor flows on the up. Now, so that's what we're looking at, and these are likely to be a little bit smaller. So where would you want to be if you're looking at short-term trades this week? You'd want to be short the dollar and long the pound. So you'd probably want to be looking at pound dollar long. That would be our number one place to be if you're looking of interest for today and going forward. And the euro's probably going to attract backdoor flows in a positive manner. And remember, quite often backdoor flows are quite nice to trade. We're long euro yen, which ties in with our analysis. Now euro pound's obviously going to be having two opposing forces, with the pound rising. And the dollar yen. Now the dollar yen, in normal transmissions of old, the dollar yen would rise when equities came up. However, we're looking at dollar weakness and we're looking at yen weakness. So that's sort of two crazy mixed up kids together. So the dollar yen is probably where you don't want to be. So to cut long story short, we think the most favourable place to look today and going forward in the short term is long pound dollar trades. Hope this has been useful. See you tomorrow. Thank you very much.